Congratulations on passing, man. How do you feel? What do you think?
Thank you, thank you, thank you. I still can't believe it. I still can't believe it. It's
You,
been a long, long journey.
mm,
So, like, so many things, so many thoughts, um, so many ups and downs, like very sad days, happy days, but but I'm here finally at the end of this long, long journey.
you're here at the end, completely passed. Okay, so let's start by talking about that because we see the 21 on reading. Would you like to say a little bit about that for people that are wondering?
Okay. For Well, I'm taking my test to be a pharmacist here in the United States. So in order for me to be a pharmacist or licensed pharmacist, I need to get 22 in reading, 21 in listening, 26 in speaking, and 24 in writing. But since I am in the state of Florida, the requirements in Florida are a little bit different than the National Association Board of Pharmacy.
Hmm.
In Florida, they require 21 in reading, 18 in listening. Speaking and writing say the same. So since I got this score and it's enough for me to apply a license here in Florida, I just decided to pursue my license here in Florida. I live in Florida, I like Florida, and I'm gonna retire here in Florida. So
That's right. Excellent.
And I've been taking the test in about 15 times.
15.
15 times since 2017. I took it once just to see how the test was done or how it felt like going to take the test. It was hard, very hard, especially because I did not speak English when I moved here to the United States. I am
You're
from
awesome, man.
Venezuela. I am from Venezuela. I speak Spanish, and also my parents are Syrian. I speak Arabic as well. But it was very hard for me when I moved here because I tried to surround myself in an English environment so I can learn faster. I had to move to New York in order to learn English because here in Florida a lot of people speak Spanish. It would be very, very difficult for me
Interesting.
to learn English. So I decided to move to New York.
Okay.
I was there for almost 2 years, and it was great. I surround myself with English speaker, Americans, a lot of different people from different countries that only speak English.
You said you took the test 15 times.
Mm-hmm.
Can you tell me and the people watching before our classes, what was the highest score you had received on TOEFL Speaking? And what could you say about that? Did you feel, how long were you at that level? Were you surprised as to how long it took you to get to 26? What would you like to say about your level before our classes?
Once in 2021, I got 25. And then I said, well, I need someone to help me to improve my English. So I enrolled with different courses. They helped me with reading, they helped me with listening and writing. But speaking, it was kind of like tricky. Not everybody can teach how to approach the test. So then when I saw your videos on Facebook, it's like, oh, okay, so this is something new.
I remember you telling me that.
This is something new. This is something that I've never seen. And you only focus on speaking.
Yes.
Which for me was great because everybody who teach TOEFL is all the sections, and they want to focus in each section a little bit in order for like get the whole score that I need. But I knew how to pass the other sections. I just need to pass the speaking section, which I didn't pass in the last 14 times.
Oh, okay. So that was it. the test before, you had already met the requirements for the other 3 sections.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I after like in 20, I would say at the end of the 2021, I was able to crack the writing section. I was able to write better. I knew what to write, and I knew how to approach and then get always like above 24. And I got a few times 27
Mhm.
in my writing. So, and then listening, I always pass. I believe, since my listening skills are very good. The reading, sometimes I struggle. It depends on the test. Sometimes I got 22, sometimes 23, but no more than 24. I was like, I'm a slow reader. But I told myself, like, once you crack the speaking section, eventually I will pass the reading.
Yeah.
And guess what? In the first, and then that test, I was able to get 21 in reading and then pass the speaking.
Nice. Okay.
It was hard. It was hard, but I only can say that thanks to you, because it was very hard for me to understand what the test requires, what they want from the speaking section. And you can read the rubrics, but if you don't understand what the rubrics like wants to tell you, you won't be able to perform good in the test.
Okay.
And then when we did, like, I don't know how many classes we did, like 9 classes, 8
About
classes.
9. Yeah.
Yeah. And in each section, in the very first class, you told me, this is the rubrics. This is what you need to know, and this is the key words. And you specifically told me in the speaking number 1, progressions of ideas.
Progression of ideas.
That's stuck in my mind. Like, I just hear progression of idea, progression of idea, progression of idea. And remember when we were like in classes, it was very difficult for me to try to eliminate or get rid of my whole habits of the templates. The templates were like, oh my God, why did they create those templates? I understand. I learned the templates. It was very good to organize your thoughts. Excellent. But once you are in the level that you need to become advanced in order to get the 26, you need to get rid of the templates.
Okay.
And just be yourself.
Okay. Can I ask you about that, Edgar?
Sure.
So you were at 25 before our classes, and then right now you just said, when a person, another pharmacist needs to get 26 on TOEFL speaking for FPGEE, needs to hit, you just described it as an advanced level. You recommend getting rid of templates, speaking templates, and instead focusing on the scoring rubrics.
That's true. That's true. I remember in this last test, in my break time, I was just thinking, okay, progressions of idea, your own opinion, explain, and in the integrated section, integrate and connect. And it doesn't matter if you have errors. It does not matter. You can have a grammatical error, you can mispronounce something, because I did mispronounce something, and I said, oh my God, I did it wrong. And then I said, don't panic, you said the whole thing the right way, even though I mispronounced a word or two, and it was okay. And see, 26 is the result.
26 on TOEFL speaking is the result. Congratulations again, man.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Yeah, so I'll say something quickly here, and then if you'd like to continue, or I can ask you some questions. So I heard you talking about the scoring rubrics for the speaking section, and yes, for the highest score available, what Edgar just said is completely correct. Minor errors are okay, specifically with grammar and pronunciation. when pharmacists start classes with me, they are often very focused on this, understandably for good reasons, because for many years, that's what the focus has been on. But the scoring rubrics tell us, and Edgar just second, he can attest to this, minor errors are okay. As we can see, he got his 26 on TOEFL speaking by focusing on other more important things. Okay, very good. Edgar, is there anything else that you would like to say? Or maybe I can ask you some questions and we can keep the ideas going, keep the progression of ideas going.
Yes, go ahead.
All
Go
right.
ahead.
Okay, so this is great. So Edgar's told us, he's told us about his path, his path towards passing the TOEFL, specifically getting his 26 on TOEFL speaking. And what you said earlier stood out to me. You talked about at the same time when you moved up on, when you connected reading to speaking.
Mhm.
That stood out to me because sometimes people will begin to focus on the speaking section with me, and maybe they'll hit their 26, but then it's almost like a teeter-totter between the speaking section and the reading section. I don't hear about this with, for example, listening and speaking. It's reading and speaking. If a person begins to focus on speaking, maybe their reading score will go down, and vice versa. You said that for this test, we can see here, you improved on both. Can you say a little bit about that, the reading section and the speaking section?
I remember when we start classes, I was focusing on reading and speaking. Those are my two main like section that I need to focus, because they're always like fluctuating in my reading, and my speaking, I wasn't able to reach the score that I wanted. So once I learned and I practiced with you a lot with the speaking section, and I felt comfortable, like, yeah, I know what I need to do. I just need to practice, and then to reach the point that it comes natural. Once I get to that point, and then I went to take the test. I remember I scheduled the test for 2 different days. I think it was like two weeks apart. I mean, it was like the second week of March and the last week of March. No, first and last. And then I decided to go and the second week as well, without telling you. And I said, I applied because I want to keep the momentum, because I knew that I practice a lot for speaking, and my reading, I just need the right section or the right test to to pass my reading.
Yes.
So then I took it on the 5th, and I did not pass the reading. I got 20, and I got 24 in my, no, I got 23 in my speaking. And the second time I went there, I got 21 in my speaking, I'm sorry, in my reading, and 25 in my speaking. I still didn't pass my reading section.
Okay.
And my speaking. And I said, well, I'm just gonna focus on my reading more, and start reading more. And you know, the curious part is I start practice with a partner. So I met one of my colleagues from Venezuela. I told her, like, hey, let's just practice together. I have a tutor that taught me a lot of things for speaking, and I just want to see if you are good in reading, because I see you have a high score in reading. So let's just, you know, practice together. And she gave me a lot of tips, extra tips, how to focus in reading, and then we practice speaking together, and we also like we're still in contact with her. So, and then when I went on the 26th to take the test, the magic happened.
All right.
In my head, the only thing that was in my head is what you told me, and what you're telling me, to get angry, get angry before you go to the speaking section. I was getting angry. I remember in my test center is a picture about is a beach picture.
Okay.
And I said, well, just get angry. Things like you're on the beach.
All right.
And I start getting angry and focusing progression of idea, connection, and explain.
Mm. Okay, excellent. So get angry, progression of ideas, and explain. The get angry part. So Edgar, I'm going to speak to everybody that's benefiting from this, hearing your advice so that they can get their 26 on TOEFL speaking. That was something unique to Edgar that I noticed in our classes. I remember, I remember the best speaking answer that Edgar gave me was in response to a question that asked him about taking risks. And when he answered this question, I noticed that he got angry. I could hear the strength in his voice. TOEFL Speaking scoring rubric calls this delivery. It was the very best delivery I had heard from him. So my advice to Edgar specifically was, we need to use that. Edgar, I think you said, okay, so it will trigger my emotions if I get angry. This will improve my speaking. And as we can see, it did.
That's true. I believe when I am under pressure and I feel like I need to defend my point, my emotion just like come naturally, and I was able to say things without making many mistakes, and then just like let it go.
Nice. Let it go. Speak uninhibited. Speak more freely, flowing, naturally. Let it go. We're not worried about minor mistakes because the rubrics tell us we can make those minor mistakes. Edgar went for his progression of ideas and explain. Edgar, what do you mean explain? For example, you told me that you were doing things to understand the speaking section of the TOEFL, and you had taken the test before. So can you give me an idea? What's the difference between how you were explaining before our speaking classes and how you improved with the explaining part of your answers?
Before, when I used to use different tutors online, and even I went to have classes with someone here in Florida. They always like, oh, the professor in the lecture explain. The professor in the lecture explain his example, explain this word, this concept. And then, well, I thought, well, I just need to repeat whatever the professor said and then try to explain. But what you taught me, that explain, is not that mean. Explain. The professor never explained. The professor just give examples about his own life related to the concept, related to a topic, or example about anything related to the topic, just to give a general idea or a different way to describe the topic that they're talking about. You have to explain. I have to explain. I have to explain what I understood, and I have to explain either paraphrasing the words or doing my own thoughts and explaining on my own words what I understood about the lecture.
But wait a minute. What if somebody has heard, hey, Edgar, you can't say something that the professor didn't say. Can you give advice to somebody right now? Maybe imagine this is you 6 months ago, a year ago. What if somebody is hearing advice that's not from me, and they believe they're not supposed to say anything that the professor or the conversation between the two students didn't say? What do you mean when you say your own ideas?
Well, it does not mean that you're going to change the whole subject or they're going to change the whole conversation. Like if they're talking about the cafeteria, you're not going to change it to talk about the library. Okay. So you have to be focused on, to be on topic, but you need to explain. If they're talking about a lot of distractions, and you know the distractions is about a noise, so you can just say, oh, they disagree because of the noise, not because of the distraction, which she refers specifically that it was everything loud. So
Excellent. Perfect
you
example.
can change things, and you can show, because the TOEFL raters, they're looking, see if you can speak in the variety of words, if you're able to understand what the lecture or the conversation is about.
Yeah. Okay, this is great. This is great, and this is helpful. I know this is going to help a lot of people, Edgar. This is a
Yeah,
great video that we're recording right now. So thank you for that, and congratulations again.
yeah. I remember in the test that I got 25, I said, come on, man, I can't keep doing this in my life. I'm coming from being like a teenager, since I was a teenager, to like an adult. I never failed a class in my life, and I never like have to struggle so much in on like studying one thing. And I always graduate with honors in my classes, and even in high school and in college. So I said, why I cannot pass this test? What's wrong with me? And even though like I took my pharmacy test, the FPGEE, and I passed it without knowing much English, because like they call me nerd, but I wasn't that nerd. But it was like a very challenging for me, and I said, well, I'm not gonna give up. I'm gonna keep trying. I'm gonna keep trying. I'm gonna keep trying. And as long as you keep focus and practice, you will be able to pass this test. That's what
Excellent.
was in my head. And it would be easy just like to quit and just go enroll for like a fast program, or like accelerated program, and on one of those universities, instead of going 4 years to go 3 years. But I thought to myself, I don't want a student loan. I don't want a student loan $150,000 for going an accelerated program. I can't do that. I can't do that. And I have a family to take care of, and I have a full-time job to do that. And if I go to school, I have to quit my job and just go full in debt. And I said, well, I need to pass this test, and I need to practice more. I sacrifice going out with my friend. I sacrifice seeing my family. I sacrifice doing things that I like, and just stay home and practice. And that is that sacrifice, that time that I think I lost, I didn't lose it. I just focus on what I need to improve in my career and my profession. And let me tell you something. I did not speak English before, and whether this test helped me or not, and I truly believe this test improved my English, because I practice and I learn from it. And that's what I take it for those 15 times of losing my mind, taking that test.
Excellent. Excellent. Man, thank you for sharing all of that, Edgar. There's like 9 different things I want to ask right now. I hope I can remember many of them. When you say 15 times, I'm thinking about, so thank you for sharing that. I'm thinking about the people that are watching this. They see you, they hear you say 15 times to take the TOEFL and pass it as you are a pharmacist. I see you as a big success, and somebody, as you're speaking about, who on purpose moved to New York for English. You're talking about how the TOEFL improved your English. It wasn't just for a pharmacy requirement, but you can see how it's beneficial in many areas in your life. And when you say 15 times taking the test, can I ask you to give some kind of inspirational message or advice to people? What if somebody's on test number 14 right now, or test number 9, and they feel like a failure because maybe like you, they always graduate with honors? What would you tell that person who's listening to you right now and sees you as a success, and they are too?
Believe in yourself. Believe in yourself, believe in your roots, because that's what I stood for. That's what kept me ongoing. I remember when I was in New York, I have a colleague from another country, from Egypt, and I asked him like, "Hey, did you pass your TOEFL?" And I said, "Yes, after 24 times." And I said, 24 times? Why it took you so long? And I said, "Well, it's not an easy test, but you need to practice, 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 practice." And I said, "Okay." And then when I started taking the test, and I remember also when I enrolled for classes in New York, and I asked another student, like, "Oh, how many times have you taken the test?" And she told me 15. And she was from another country. And I said, "Wow, this test is not easy." And I said, "Well, if they took 24, 20, 15, so if I take it as many times as I can, I don't mind and I don't care. I just need to pass the test and move on in my career." So I just focus in my roots and say, I'm a very persistent person. And when I want something, I just stick on it as many times and as much as I can.
Excellent, man. Very, very good. All right. We see your persistence paying off.
Yeah, and I remember I spoke to my boss about it, and I said, "Oh my God, I really admire your persistence because I know how much you have struggled with this test, and it wasn't just 1 year. I've been trying to take the test since 2017, so this is not something from last year.
Hmm.
And even though I have a full-time job and have a life to lead, so it being like fluctuating, and it just taking little breaks to try to, like, to manage life and try to pass the test.
All right. Very good. Okay. Edgar, I'm looking at the notes, at the notes that we took during our classes, the things that you've told me. And while I'm looking at this, I just want to open it up to you. Make sure that you have the opportunity to say anything else that you'd like. While you're thinking about that, I've heard you mention your study partner and your parents, people that have helped you along the way. So while you're thinking about, making sure that you say everything else here, I want to thank those people who were a part of this process with you. So to everybody who knows Edgar, he did it. We're all proud of him. And now he can move on. Look at him.
Yes. Thank you so much, Aaron. Your classes are awesome. I really, when I saw your first video with one of your students, I said, "Wow, this is kind of cool, and I think that's gonna help me." And I focused on that. I said, "Aaron is gonna help me," because the way that he was teaching in that class, he was kind of like debating with the student, helping them like to, doing things that I have never seen with other tutors to do with the students. And they just focus on reading, or they focus on talking to the student through the lecture, but they don't go more or above that. And you do that. And when I saw that, I said, "Well, I'm just going to give it a try. Just give it a try. I'm not going to lose or waste my time, because whether you give me, I would learn something from you. That's what I was. I said, at least I would learn something from Aaron." But incredibly, it was like life changing.
That's perfect, man. Yeah. If I can, you complimented me. I want to pass the compliment right back to you. You said something earlier, Edgar, when you talked about momentum. You want to keep your momentum going. This is something that I wish everybody that I help did, but not everybody, it's understandably, it's very hard. You have the strength, the fortitude to do that, to take, earlier you talked about registering for another test before you got the results of the one before that, because you wanted to keep the momentum going. So I was glad to help you, but you are the person who did it because of making decisions like this. And then of course, executing on the things that we were learning in our classes. So you're welcome and thank you.
Thank you. And I remember two things from one of your students. The first one, it was, I think it was, her name is Paulina. Paulina was saying always like, she enrolled for like 5 or 7 times in a row for the test. And she said, this is the way that I think is going to help me to pass the test. And she also said that someone else did it. And that's why she followed that advice. And I said, well, it might be something there. It's going to be true. That's going to help you. And in my head always was like, if you don't go take the test, you don't have to stay the chance or get the chance to pass, because staying home and practice test only is not going to help you to pass. You need to go and practice in that test center also. And don't think that the amount of money that you spend in there is not worth it. It is worth it. It is worth it. Because the other student that you have, I forgot her name.
Hedia.
Hedia, yes. Hedia said that she goes to the test by an advice of her mother. Just go practice. Just go practice. Don't be nervous, because that was my biggest thing. I was always nervous. I always run out of time. I just like that tick, 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 tick in the computer. It just like go crazy in my head. And just watching it, it just like got me scared. When she said her mother told her like to go to practice, that's what I did in my last test. I said, you know what? I'm just gonna go practice.
Wow.
Another one, 15 times later, why not? I just go and practice. And I was like kind of confident about it. I said, well, if I don't pass, I have another chance. If I don't pass, I have another chance. I still have time for that.
Wow. Wow.
And I just go there and the magic happened.
There it is. You're the magic man. You did it. You did it. You earned it. All right. This is great. Edgar, this is perfect, man. Thank you for all of this. So you're a big success, man. And the same way those videos that my other FPGEE pharmacist friends were gracious enough to share with me and with you, with everybody that's benefited from watching their advice, the same way you benefited, I know a lot of other people are going to benefit from this. So for that, I, Aaron, am telling you thank you right now, and thank you in the future for other people who will tell me, I watched Edgar's video, I heard him talk about this, about what you taught him in the scoring rubrics, about how he took it 15 times, and that inspired me. So thank you, man.
Keep studying, keep practice, and never give up. Never give up. The FPGC give you 5 years. 5 years for you to improve your English, 5 years for you like to learn how to speak well, read well, listening, and write well. So that's going to be helpful not for the test only. It's going to be helpful for your entire career. After that, you're going to be working here in the United States and making a lot of money here in the United States. So focus on that part. You're gonna succeed, and be persistent. Don't give up. Don't give up.
Perfect. Okay. All right, Edgar, I look forward to hearing about more future success from you. Share it with us.
Be ready. So this is the next one. I'm already ready. 2022 Naples. So this is day 1 of studying.
This is day 1 of studying.
This is day 1 for studying.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah, I'm so ready. My goal is like 2 or 3 months, and then go take the test.
Okay. All right. I'm going to hold you accountable to that.
Yes.
Maybe I won't send a message for exactly 2 or 3 months, and then 2 or 3 months from today, boom, Edgar, where are you at?
I'll send you my passing score.
Perfect. There we go. All right, man. Thank you for me and for everybody who I know is going to benefit from this, Edgar. Thank you. Thank you very much. You're amazing. You passed. I'm very happy for you.
Thank you so much, Aaron. And I hope you keep inspiring and helping more pharmacists and more other students to achieve their goal and become a professionals here in the United States.
I will. I will. Thank you. To get more of this for your 26 on speaking, my Facebook group and YouTube channel are linked in the description of this video. Also, you can see my Facebook group and YouTube channel by going to speaking26.com.